Hey, it's John from Circle of Care, and today I really want to talk about self-care. Self-what? Self-care. Self-care.
What is self-care?
Okay, now that we've seen a couple examples of what self-care can be, and some of them are crazy, right? Like snowboarding. One of them was like zip lining, and they can be as simple as gardening, which to some people gardening doesn't seem that simple, but if you get into it, having a house plant is one of the most beautiful things you can do. It's something you can look at when you first get, and it's this tiny little babe, and then it grows up to be this big, beautiful bush. Self-care is something that we do to improve happiness. It's something we do to increase the longevity of our life. It's something we do to just manage the emotions that we deal with every day. Life is crazy. Life takes us to places, very dark places, and you can wake up in the morning and you don't even know what you're going to get. So how do you cope with that rough day? How do you cope with knowing that your morning started off rough and being able to get through and be positive enough so that you can have a good rest of your day? Well, the simple answer is self-care. But again, what is that? People tell us all the time to practice self-care, to do something that makes us happy. But no one tells us how exactly to do it. And there's a ton of videos out there that talk about, 5 tips for the best self-care, 10 tips to the best self-care. And I don't want to do that here. I want to just talk about what it is and the reality of what self-care is. Now, to start off with, before you consider what hobbies you like, what things might bring you happiness, what things could calm you down and relax you, we need to just get to the basics. Self-care. And commit to planning a time each day, whether that's 5 minutes or 10 minutes out of your day, because everyone is so busy. But I guarantee you can find 5 minutes of your day. That 5 minutes you would spend scrolling through your phone, that 5 minutes you would spend looking for a movie on Netflix, just a plan for yourself. And that is the most important step, is setting that time aside and committing and letting others know that this is my self-care time and being selfish for that. And I'll tell you right now that if you let your friends know, your family know, your coworkers know that, hey, this is my self-care time, I'm going to take a minute to myself, it's one of the most selfless things you can do. And why is it selfless? Well, there's that old saying talking about how you can't take care of others if you can't take care of yourself. And if you can't take self-care seriously, then how are you going to take care of yourself? And the other fun thing about self-care is that you could be doing it and not even know you're doing it, which is pretty cool. And if you can acknowledge that you've been engaging in self-care, that in of itself can relax you just a little bit. So when looking at things or activities to engage in for self-care, we really want to do stuff that we enjoy. If you don't like to read, why the heck would you pick reading as self-care? It doesn't make sense. Pick something like making puzzles, coloring, which if you're an adult, coloring is still a great form of self-care. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Another important thing about self-care is knowing that it's your time. So don't worry about what other people think, because it's your time. If it's something weird, like your self-care is peeling potatoes because it gives you some sort of ASMR relief, or you really just like the look of peeled potatoes, peel potatoes for 10 minutes. I don't care. It's what makes you happy. It's something that you enjoy. And it's got to be something that makes you pretend that reality isn't real for a second. It's about finding that sense of flow where you just lose track of time. A 10-minute self-care period should feel like 2 minutes. It should feel like the fastest 10 minutes of your life, because you're having fun, you're enjoying it, you're doing something for yourself. Ideas for self-care could be reading, they could be doing puzzles, going on a walk in the evening with your dog or by yourself because it's you time. Another version of self-care could be having a deep conversation with someone. But John, shouldn't you be alone? Yeah, for the most part, you should have you time for self-care. If you spend a lot of time alone, then maybe having a deep conversation or calling up your mom, calling up your friend, calling someone up and just chatting with them for 5 or 10 minutes every day could be your form of self-care, because it's getting you into that sense of flow, which is so important. Let's talk about the do's and the don'ts. First, we're gonna talk about the don'ts. Don't feel selfish. Self-care time is your time so that you can be with others, be more positive, more productive, and just get more out of your life. Don't do something you dislike. Like I said before, if you don't like reading, then it doesn't make sense to read. And don't force yourself. Self-care should be something you want to do, and that's why it's important to find things and activities that you're really into, because if it's an activity you enjoy doing, then it won't feel forced. And that's the most important part about self-care, is that it's something you look forward to. If I really have a book that I want to read, then I'm going to schedule that time for self-care because I'm looking forward to having that time to myself. And don't forget, set reminders on your phone, write it on your calendar, tell your close friends about it so they can remind you, hey, did you do your self-care today? And that person that you texted from the last video for our self-work activity, let them know, hey, this week I'm doing this for self-care, and ask them what they're doing. And don't make unrealistic plans. So if you just got off a 12-hour work shift, you started at 6 a.m., you're getting off at 6 p.m., or you just worked overnight from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and you have another 12-hour shift coming up tomorrow, it's probably not the best idea to plan a self-care activity that's going to take about 4 hours. Self-care. But please do make your self-care time fun. Make it a time where you can have some laughs. Make it a time where, you know, it's easy. Maybe you spend a lot of time alone. So your self-care time could be calling a family member, calling a friend, or while we're making new friends, you can include them in that time. Do plan it. Please plan it. Make sure that is part of your everyday schedule, because that's the most important part.
It's freaking hot. It is freaking hot.
Sometimes just engaging in those hobbies that you enjoy doing, it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but you pushing yourself and getting through those uncomforts of, you know, maybe you're trying to read, but the pillow's just not in the right spot. Just try to focus in on your skill, focus in on your craft, your woodworking, your gardening, your reading, which reading is a skill. It's not easy to sit there for hours and hours and read when you haven't done it at first, or even to meditate. Maybe just getting into meditating, if you've never done it before, is something that's hard to you. But if you start at 3 minutes at a time and just get used to being aware of your environment and working on that mindfulness of, yeah, this is uncomfortable, but you just let it pass. So yeah, I'm hot and I'm sweaty, and this is not the ideal situation to record. But one, I love talking to you guys, and I love spreading the word of how self-care can be used. And I just love having hobbies, and I love getting into things. So today I'm gonna try my best to ignore the heat, ignore how much I'm sweating. I'm gonna drink lots of water, ba-bam, and I'm gonna have some fun. We've talked about the do's and we've talked about the don'ts. At the end of the day, what we need to be focusing on is finding an activity, a hobby, something that we can do every day to take care of ourselves. Something fun, something that makes you forget about the world, and just something that, again, allows you to be selfish for 5 to 10 minutes. Our self-work for this video is to find someone to be your self-care buddy. I want you to go to your friends, to your family, someone you know that might be struggling, or even who isn't struggling. It's honestly your oyster, so you can do whatever you want. You can find anyone you want. The goal is to find someone to hold you accountable, and that you can hold accountable. To make sure that they're planning self-care throughout their day, whether that's 5 minutes or 10 minutes of meditation, yoga, coloring, talking on the phone to a close friend, doing something for yourself, doing something that allows you to relax and to detox for the day. I really enjoyed you guys watching this video today. I hope you learned a lot about self-care today. I just really wanted to make something that was super simple, to the point. You're taking care of yourself, you're planning something every day for you to do to take care of yourself. Please leave a like, share the video, spread the word of our community, make sure everyone knows that these videos are being made to help us help ourselves. Let us know in the comment section below what you do for self-care, and I'll let you guys know. You've seen a lot of examples of what I do for self-care, so use some of them. If I gave you an idea to try out something new, try it out, and that would be so exciting. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll have more videos coming your way. Thank you so much.